fudgy, packed with chocolate, melt in your mouth. Those are the characteristics of the perfect brownie. I'm gonna show you how to make these, and let's start by looking at the ingredients list. I have some dark chocolate. You can also use bittersweet chocolate, which is practically the same thing. I have butter, flour, vanilla, eggs, and sugar. That's it. I'm starting by combining butter and the chocolate. Dumping it all in one bowl, and I'm gonna melt this in the microwave, and I will check it every 30 seconds by giving it a good stir to ensure that everything is melting evenly. This clearly needs more time, so back in the microwave for another 30 seconds. And once everything has fully melted, you want to touch the bowl and make sure it's not too warm. If it's too warm, we risk cooking the eggs that we're about to add. So if it's a little too warm, just put it aside for about 5 minutes. Once we've let this cool, we are ready to add sugar and eggs to this. And for that, I'm gonna switch to a whisk. Give this a good stir. And I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla extract to enhance flavors. And I'm gonna add my eggs one at a time. Last egg goes in. Now we're not quite done yet. I'm gonna add a little bit of flour. This is 35 grams. And I'm gonna also add a pinch of salt just to cut through any sweetness. Okay. Flour goes in all at once. And just stir to combine. Just like any other brownie recipe, you never want to overmix. This is what your brownie batter should look like. It's velvety and it's smooth. As the butter cools, it likes to split from the rest of the batter, and if that happens, don't worry, just keep whisking until you achieve this consistency. All my batter goes in. And with my spatula, I'm just gonna push the batter so that it reaches all corners. And then I just make sure it's spread evenly, which it does look even at this point. Now, this is ready to go if you just want the brownie, but I'm gonna make it a little bit more special and add some dollops of my salted caramel, which is quite thick. So I'm just gonna swirl this around, or dollop. Enough. Then I'm just gonna go with a toothpick and swirl this around. And there we go. This is now ready to go into my preheated oven, 180 Celsius for about 15 minutes. That's all it takes. And look at that bubbling caramel. It's so gooey and delicious. I have to let this cool down before I can even dare to cut into it. So you might be tempted to cut into this. The bubbling has stopped, but it's not quite there yet. You want to make sure it's really cool before you cut it. So let's leave this to set at room temperature for another 15 to 30 minutes. Luckily, you don't have to wait this long. This is my cooled version. I'm just gonna run the spatula all around for easier release. Big moment. And look at that. Beautiful. So I'm ready to cut some nice squares. Now at this point, you decide what to do with them. You can cut them into squares and serve them as delicious caramel brownies, or you can use them as layers for desserts. If you remember, at the very end of my last week's video, I made some mousse cakes that were sitting on top of brownie. Well, that brownie comes from this recipe. And I like using this particular recipe for my layered desserts. I'll show you why. Because they make for such great layers. Look at how dense they are. You can cut them really nice and thin and you will still get loads of chocolate packed into one bite. That's what I love about them. They're very flat because they're so dense, and they're extremely fudgy. They're very clean to cut into. I did not refrigerate the brownies like you would find in some other videos where that's the easiest way that you can get a clean cut. But nope, this recipe doesn't need that. And can you believe this was done all in one bowl and no mixer? I can't. But nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like the idea of combining salted caramel and brownies, although, as I said, it doesn't really need the salted caramel. They are delicious on their own. And I'm completely sure that you and anybody who eats them will love this recipe. So I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and to subscribe to my channel for a lot more content. I'll see you next time with more recipes.